1995. There is Lorena. Hello, Lorena. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
I was telling the audience a little bit about you. Yes. And
Thanks.
she became an English teacher in 1995, specializing in early childhood stimulation, learning disabilities, psychomotor skills, and logical mathematical thinking. With more than 20 years of experience in teaching and working in schools, she now trains and coaches teachers, content edits, manages educational projects, and writes in collaboration with Macmillan. She's written many books to teach English to preschool students, as well as several teachers' guides for different programs. And today, she will presenting tips for teaching preschool online. I think we all, if you're teaching kindergarten, you will love this session. Yes, she's going to give us some very useful tips that will help you to organize your classes and go on developing the strategies that we need to teach online. So enough for me. Over to you, Lorena, and have a good time.
Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Hi, can you hear me well? Well, hello. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, teachers. We are going to be talking, as Mariela was saying, about different tips that I thought of were useful to teach preschool online now that we've started online classes all over the world, you know, and I have seen certain things that I want to share with you. So let's start. So the first thing I wanted to share with you is I often think what interesting history we're making for the students of the 21st century. I wanted to start with this first because, you know, we're making history as teachers. You are making history because all over the world, all of the teachers are being trained and are getting ideas and are helping each other to be able to educate their countries. So this is something heroic. So we're making history. So the first thing you have to do is to feel proud of yourself and of what you're doing, teachers. I feel already very proud of you and very thankful of you and all of the teachers who are participating in this massive thing that we're doing all together. So when we start making history, teachers, we have to start setting the path. And it may not be easy, but in the future, you will feel really very satisfied because you're going to see that you established the path of a new way of teaching. And certainly these new generations that you're going to help prepare from the beginning are going to be different generations because of the way they're going to learn and the way they are going to become. And we're going to be talking about this in a minute. But first of all, thank you. Thank you for your interest. And we're all in this together. And I'm here to share with you my tips. And I'm sure that later you're going to have more tips once that you start teaching and once you start having experience teaching online, you're going to get more tips and you're going to be able to share your tips with other teachers. And little by little, everybody is going to become an expert. Okay? So which are the tips that I have for you today? The first thing is we have to establish new routines and procedures for our kids. Our kids are so small and so young that they need routines to feel safe. We always establish routines to feel safe when we start our classes, you know, in the classroom, because in that way they feel safe. They know what is coming next. They know what they have to do. And so little by little, they feel less stressed, okay? So the first thing that we have to do now is to establish new routines and procedures for our online classes. So you have to be quick in establishing these procedures and routines, but don't hurry, okay? Take your time. It's going to take time, but you will see that if you establish your routines, you're going to make your little kids independent. And little by little, teachers, and this is very important, we're going to make this new generation of kids independent learners, okay? So that's why I was telling you that we're going to start making history, because this new generation is going to be of independent learners, and we're going to establish that, okay? So about establishing new routines and procedures, obviously you're going to need the help of your parents, okay? But you can also start giving certain tips to your parents so they know what they have to do to help their kids be independent. So the first thing is logging on. Always use, if you're going to use Zoom or if you're going to use any other platform, use the same meeting room or link and the same password. So in a way, parents can save that link or password in the devices that the children are going to be using, and so that they can go and give a click on that link so that it can direct to your room or to your class immediately, and so they don't struggle, okay? So this is something that you have to do. It is very easy. Later, I'm going to share with you certain apps that can help you do this. I know Macmillan has Navieo, but there are other apps in which you can even include this. But logging on, same meeting room or same link and same password. So it is not difficult for kids to log in and not difficult for parents to look for different, links or passwords every time. And ask parents to display the students' names, because maybe you already know your children, but maybe you're going to have new kids, or maybe you're going to start a new school year. So that way you're going to start getting to know each other, getting to start calling your kids by their name, okay? So always ask parents to display their students' names on the screen. Also, ask parents to log on a few minutes earlier to make sure everything works well. And in a way, ask parents to be in contact with you if they have any trouble, okay? Sometimes students give a click on the link and you cannot access, so what you have to do is to turn everything off again and then to restart, okay? Everything again, so you can access the link. So ask parents not to panic, and you don't panic either. Just keep calm and try again, okay? This is something that we will have to be dealing with, frustration, because it might be frustrating that maybe the internet is not working, or maybe your class already started and not all of your kids are there. So keep calm, okay? Remember, if there are any tech issues, ask them to log out and try again, okay? So this is very important, and this is part of the first routines you have to establish before starting your class, okay? So logging on is super important, so you know that you're going to have your students there in your classroom, in your online classroom, okay? Okay, and so once you have established these new routines, you also have to establish routines for the do's and don'ts on how you're going to be working online, okay? So number one, attendance. It is very important to let parents know that it's important that children come to your class online, okay? I know it's difficult to have children sit on a chair and look at a screen for a long time. They get tired, but in a minute, I'm going to give you some ideas on how to work with that, okay? But one of the first things is attendance. because they're going to be learning a different language. Okay, so they need to listen to the input in English all the time so they can get the language. Okay, so if they don't come to your class, it's going to be more difficult for them to start learning what we want them to learn. So it's very important that you flag this out, attendance. Okay, another routine, dress as if you're going to school. Maybe you're going to ask them to wear a uniform if they have it at school, or maybe not. But what it is important is that they don't come to your class in their PJs, and that they comb their hair, they have their breakfast before or something to eat. Remember, this is very important. Okay, this is a routine we have to establish because it helps make a schedule. Okay, and kids work with a schedule. So ask parents to wake their children up on time as if they were going to school, to the real school, you know, to the building. Have them have a breakfast. It is very important to have a breakfast. Why? Because the brain works with food. Okay? So it is very important that we ask students, parents, to give their children protein early in the morning, okay? Because with protein, the brain can work. And if they have for breakfast, for example, cereals or a piece of bread, what this does is that it makes you sleepy. It makes you not want to pay attention. Or if it's too sugary early in the morning, it's going to make you too hyper, and it's not going to let you focus while you are, on your classes. So having this routine of waking up, dressing up, like going to school, combing your hair, having your breakfast, including in your breakfast protein, like a scrambled egg or a piece of ham, piece of cheese or cold cuts or something like that, your milk, yogurt. Ask your parents to give their kids protein, okay? So they are ready to learn. And all of this is going to affect their behavior while in class, okay? So this is very important. Something else. While we are giving classes online, something happens that we can hear everything that is around, everything. For example, if children are working on a table near the kitchen, we can listen even to the spoons clicking. So it is very important to ask parents to look for a place where they are free of these sounds, to turn off the TV, to turn off music, okay, to a place where kids cannot be distracted with anything, okay? This is also very important. So you're able to give your class and you're able to listen to all of your children, okay? And that some sounds don't come into your class, because this can also affect, the attention of your children while they are, taking your class with you. Also, you are going to ask them to follow directions. And this is very simple, like having students, okay, to listen to you as if you are giving your class in your classroom, okay? So remember, you can do these TPR activities like, okay, everybody, hands up on your head, up on your eyes, up on your nose, up, okay, cross your arms, oh, listen. I'm sorry, listen and look, okay? So they know that they have to follow you, and if they are doing it, that they are following your direction. That means that they are paying attention to you, okay? So include these kind of activities as you normally do when you are in your class. Also, if they want to speak, I know they are very little, but some of them they are not. For example, if they're in Kinder 2, Kinder 3, ask them to raise their hand to speak. Okay, so you know that they want to speak and you can unmute them. Ask them to put away distractions. if children, for example, are working in their room, they're going to have a lot of toys around, and they might want to stand up and want to get distracted with a toy and want to play with it. So try to ask parents to look for a place where they are free of these distractions, or maybe to put away their toys if they're in their room so they don't get distracted. And also teach your little kids how to mute and unmute themselves while in class. There is a button and you can teach them how to do it. Okay, they are going to learn because they learn really very fast. They are going to get there, but you have to teach them. So when you tell them, okay, you can talk, like, John, you can talk, you can ask him to unmute himself, and so he can talk. If possible, do this so there's not a lot of noise around and you're able to give your class and everybody's able to listen to you, okay? What other routines or procedures or rules and regulations you have to be aware of? What are the don'ts? Move around during lessons unless you ask them to move around, okay? Because if you are teaching, for example, vocabulary and everybody's standing up and moving around and jumping on the couch, maybe they are paying attention to you, maybe you don't know. So I'm going to give you some strategies to have them here with you, at least for those 5 minutes that you're going to take teaching your vocabulary, okay? So it is important to remind them, okay, don't move around, okay? We're going to have time to stand up and to relax and to rest. But it's important that you pay attention here, okay? Also, don't talk while others are talking. That's why it's very important to teach them how to mute and unmute themselves while they're in your class, okay? Because if you don't do this, everybody starts talking and then it's like in your class, you cannot listen to them. Plus, if there are sounds around or noises around in their houses, it is going to be a nightmare. And you're going to end up being very frustrated because you're not going to be able to give a class and nobody's going to listen to you, okay? So this is very important and this is something that you have to establish. Something else, ask them not to eat or drink during lessons. Number one, because we normally don't let them drink or eat while they are in class, unless, I mean, we have a period of lunch and it's done in the classroom. But it gives them, you know, a schedule, a routine, and there are some rules. Number two, because if they are drinking something, for example, and they spill it on the device, it can get damaged. Imagine that they are drinking juice or something and it's spilled on the iPad or the laptop or the cell phone, it's going to get damaged. So it's very important that you ask them not to eat or drink anything during lessons. Also, if they eat something, they're not going to be paying attention to you, and maybe their hands are going to get dirty, and they can also damage the devices, okay? So this is something very important that you have to have in your mind. Do not eat or drink during lessons. But this is something very important. Remind parents that they have to eat or drink something before the lesson. Remember, the children have to eat so their brain can work. If they do not eat or drink during lessons, they're going to get hungry. And if they are hungry, they're not going to be paying attention to you, because the only thing they're going to be paying attention is to their tummy, because they're hungry, okay? So ask parents to give your children breakfast before. Also, ask them to go to the bathroom before their lesson starts. That is also very important. Otherwise, you're going to start the lesson and everybody's going to say that they want to leave to go to the bathroom. So this is very important, okay? Also, don't play with your toys or walk away, okay? So this is super important, that you have a mini talk or conference with your parents, you know, explaining this. This is super important because you have to work with parents as a team, no? They are going to help you a lot. So this is important. And also tell your little kids, what they can do and they cannot do. This is very important before starting your class, okay? Okay. And also, as I was telling you, the location. Where are you going to be taking your lessons for the kids now? So suggest an adequate workspace that is quiet, if possible, monitored by parents that, I mean, parents do not have to be there, but they can keep an eye on them, okay? Motivational or maybe mobile if they're always working on the dining room and maybe they have to move to another place, that they are able to do it. How can they do it? Something very easy that you can suggest your parents is that they have a box, something like this. They have a box with everything inside, everything they're going to be inside. Like this, inside this box, they're going to have like their mobile classroom, just in case they have to move somewhere else, okay? And inside that box, you can ask parents to put their, school supplies, their books, and everything that they are going to be using. Their computer, their iPads or tablets, their headsets, a whiteboard or a teacher, and the teacher schedule. That is very important. Let me show you this. Okay. This is going to be very useful. Okay. If you cannot ask your parents to get a whiteboard, you can ask your parents to laminate a white sheet of paper and use a marker that's for the whiteboard like this, because sometimes, for example, you're working with your students and you tell them, okay, you can show this is an apple, for example, in a flashcard. And you can show maybe a real apple. This is an apple. Do you like apples? Yes. Okay. And at the end, you are going to check if they understood what an apple is. And then you can tell them, draw me an apple. And very easily here, they can draw an apple. Okay. And then, can you see this? And then they can show it to you. So very quickly, you can have your students show you what they are doing. And very quickly, you can see in your screen that everybody, is understanding. You see, everybody drew an apple, perfect, they understood. Everybody drew an apple, but hey, one kid drew a banana. Okay, so then you work with that kid, and then you tell them, oh, look at your drawing. Look, this is an apple. Look at your drawing. That is a banana. Draw an apple, okay? So you can, in a way, assess. This is going to help you to assess and to see if they are learning. For example, if you're teaching letters, you can also use this one. Okay, for example, write letter A, and they can very quickly, this is, hold on. They can write very quickly the letters, and then they can show them to you, and then they can erase them. So this is very helpful while you are teaching. So if possible, ask parents to get a small board like this that is not heavy, so students can carry it. Or if they cannot get it, as simple as laminate a sheet of paper. It also works well. I have here, like this one. You laminate a sheet of paper or a white sheet of paper, and you can do the same here. You can ask students to draw, and then you can erase them very easily, okay? With a wipey or with your finger, okay? So this is going to be very useful, because in this way, you're not going to be wasting paper, and you're not going to ask parents to buy any extra resources. Just this to help you help them assess or draw or something. And it's very easy that they show this to you. So put everything and ask everybody to put everything in a box and have it there, because then they will know that that is their mobile classroom, okay? And they can use it. They can stay where they're going to be working, or they can move with them where they go, okay? So that is also very important. Oh, and about the headset, if possible, ask your students to get a headset. It can be earbuds like this ones, well, like the ones that you connect to the computer, or this kind of headsets too, no? The ones that they put on. Why? Because in a way, the headset help remove the sounds that are around, and that can also help your class. So if you can ask them to get a headset, that could be good too. If not, it's okay. These are just suggestions, but they are very useful, okay, while giving your class. Well, another thing, suggest that the workplace is also well organized and the items are available and at reach. That means if parents can get a box, it can be any kind of box. They can even label, you know, they can even put their names here, okay, and that they are at reach, somewhere children can easily get their stuff out from the box, and that they not need the parents to do it, because maybe parents are going to be working too. And so when children are in class, maybe parents are going to be working, or they're going to be preparing food or doing something else. So that's why I was telling you that we need to teach our students to be independent. Give things that are at their reach. Obviously, things that are not going to be dangerous for them. Maybe you don't want them to have scissors at reach. Maybe parents are going to have the scissors somewhere else, because you don't want them to get the scissors because they are very little. Okay, just ask them to put what they can have at reach, okay? But if we make our kids independent, you don't know what we're giving them, because parents are going to see that their kids are learning to take out their books and their stuff out from their box by themselves. They don't need their help. They can be there monitoring, but they will see that little by little they will know what to do because you establish a good routine. And that is also going to be very helpful. When you get them back in the classroom, you will see that they are going to work differently because they are independent kids. We have to teach our kids to be independent from the beginning, since they are little. Sometimes we tend to do everything for our kids because they are little and we think that they don't know. But if we take the time to teach them and to explain them and to show them, they learn, and then they learn fast. And when they see they can, their self-esteem goes up and they feel very happy because they feel that they are grown-ups, okay? So make them feel they're grown-ups and that they can do this, okay? Little by little, as I was telling you, be quick, but don't hurry. Little by little, but teach them how to be independent, okay? And well, also something I want you to consider while deciding or asking parents to have an adequate workspace for their kids is this, and this is very important. With online learning, we're going to have more screen time and more time sitting on the table. So this means that children can start suffering headaches, feeling nausea, feeling dizzy, or maybe they're not going to be able to sleep on time, okay? So this is very important, and this is also something that you have to consider. The work surface and chair should be appropriate for students. That means that obviously we're not going to ask parents to get a small chair and a small table for them, but we can fix things, okay? Number one, we have to ask parents to check that students are sitting up straight all the time. The feet have to be flat on the floor. Why? Because if not, look at the picture that I have here, okay? Because if not, they're going to start having a wrong position and they're going to start having back aches, okay? So sit up straight. We always do this when we are in our classroom. We always tell our kids, okay, everybody sit up straight, okay? Feet on the floor, feet on the floor. Sometimes, for example, if they are at home, look at this picture, their feet are not going to reach the floor. So how can we fix this? We can use a stool or a footrest or a box or anything they can have handy so they can put their feet on something that is flat, and they can rest their feet. This is super important for position. They should be able to rest their head on their hand when putting their elbow on the table. This is very important, okay? Because if they're sitting at a table and the table is like, imagine this is my table and the table like is here and they don't have this length, it is going to harm them, okay? So because I'm going to explain you, the eyes have to be like in a third of the screen, looking like the third of the screen, okay? So this is very important. They should rest their head on their hand when putting their elbow on the table. So maybe they'll have to use some cushions on the chairs or something to level up a little bit their kids, okay? When they're working on a table, for example, in the dining room, okay? And the screen should be about 1 arm's length away. I have to be able to put my arm straight in front of the screen, and that is like the correct position, okay? The screen should not be here, very close to my eye. It has to be about 1 arm's length away, okay? So it doesn't harm my eyes. And this is very important, okay? I'm telling you this because, yes, it's very important to prevent backaches and pains in the neck and everything, headaches and everything. But also because this is also the correct position to read and write, okay? So if we start teaching our students to sit properly from the beginning, right now they're going to be sitting properly because they're going to be you know, looking at you at the screen, but also they're going to be working on their books, okay? So this position is also very important. What happens if I am too close to the table? If I'm too close to the table, my eyes are going to be too close to the words, okay? So if they are too close to the words, my eyes cannot focus the words properly, okay? And so the information that my eyes are getting from the beginning, because my eyes get the information from outside and then they take that information to the brain, okay? So if my eyes are too close and I am not able to focus, that is the way the information is going to come into my brain. So the first step of getting the information is going to be wrong. So the information is going to also be wrong processed in the brain, okay? So another thing that can happen if I don't have a good position is that I tend to rest my head, you know, on my arm, and I tend to write like this, no, like this. That is also not a good position because then one eye is being canceled. This eye cannot see, okay? This one cannot see. I'm only looking at the words or only working with one eye. So one eye is canceled. So again, the information is not coming completely into my brain. So then that means that I'm not going to look at the pictures properly. If I start reading, I'm also not going to look at the words completely. I'm just going to look at parts of it. And then the information is going to come into my brain in different bits, but not all together. And then that's why we also have problems with reading comprehension and everything. So from the beginning, since we are preschool teachers, we have to teach our kids the correct position to sit on the table, to sit, on the chair, and work with my screen. And also because, as I told you, they're also going to be coloring, or they are also going to be working with their books. So they have to have a correct position. Okay, so this is also super important that we teach them. Okay, and something else before starting our class. When we're looking at the screen for a long time, our eyes get tired because they get dry, because we stop blinking. The eye blinking is reduced. And so if eye blinking is reduced, it cannot moisture my eyes, so they get dry. And if they get dry, then I start having headaches. I start feeling dizzy. I don't feel well. So this is super important, teachers, okay? How can we help prevent this? And this is for everybody, also for you, okay? How can we help prevent this? We have to make a 2020 rule. And right now, we're going to do some activities. The 2020 rule is every 20 minutes, close your eyes for 20 seconds. After looking at a screen, you close your eyes for 20 seconds, okay? And after closing your eyes for 20 seconds, then you look away, 20 feet away, okay? It's around 6 meters, but you just look away. Maybe you look outside, outside through the window, or you look around somewhere away, okay? So they don't get tired. You can ask your students to do this. You can put your chronometer, and every 20 minutes, if your class lasts more than an hour or more than 30 minutes, or do this. It will take you less than a minute, okay? Every 20 minutes, close your eyes for 20 seconds. You can tell them, okay, everybody, time to rest our eyes, or however you want to call this activity. Okay, close your eyes. Okay, maybe you can still even count to 20, 1, 2, 3, and you can review numbers up to 20, and look through the window, or look somewhere, okay? Other thing that you can do is to do saccadic movements. Saccadic movements is to be able to move my eyes without moving my head from left to right, up and down, okay? So it's left, right, up, down, and I don't move my head. So you can use something like that, okay? You can use a ruler, and you can tell them, okay, everybody, look at the drawings and follow the drawings with your eyes, okay? To your right, to your left, up and down. You can also do it with a puppet or a toy that you have, okay? Okay, look at the dog. Do you know him? It's Zero. So, ready? Follow Zero with your eyes to your right, to your left, up and down, okay? So this also helps, move your eyes, because they become static when we're looking at a screen. Another thing you can do is TPR activities. Okay, every 20 minutes, okay, everybody stand up and stretch. If you see that they are getting tired, or they are hyper, you can relax them. Okay, just stretch. Okay, let's read. Okay. Simon says, touch your eyes. Simon says, touch your nose. Simon says, stand up. Simon says, jump. Okay, so you can do different activities with your kids. Okay, so they are not watching you all the time on the screen. So you can include these kind of activities. It is very important because we have to rest our eyes, okay? And if possible, suggest the use of lenses that block blue light. I have here an example. So they just block blue light, okay? So what you can do is to tell your parents. If you want, you can also buy lenses that block the blue light to prevent headaches, dry eyes, digital eye strain, and they are very helpful. Let me tell you, this belongs to my daughter. And at the beginning, she used to come downstairs and she used to tell me, "Mom, I have a headache," and she's a little girl. And I was like, "Come on, you have a headache?" Yeah, because she had been for 5 hours, looking at the screen. My girl is 7 years old, and so she was really very tired. So I started doing some research, and the moment I found these glasses, I ordered them, and she has not had any more headaches. So if you can suggest the use of this is going to be really very helpful. Okay. So now, something very important. You have to have a very good communication with your parents, direct communication, okay? So everything is a success. Ask parents to help with the organization of the learning space and general supplies. As I told you, you can even explain why is it very important to check that they are sitting properly, to put the devices in a correct place. Ask them to help you to do this because it's going to be in the benefit of your kids. If possible, ask them to supervise lesson completion. You're going to be working with them. Maybe you're going to be checking that they are doing everything. But maybe if they stand up or if they leave or something, just check that ask your parents to check that they finish what they were doing. They finished coloring or they finished the activity. Ask parents to check and promote attendance, that if they see that their kid is going to the bathroom several times, hey, go back to your class. Your teacher is waiting for you. That is important, okay? That the children know that their parents are also there and that they cannot get away. Help check understanding whenever possible, if that is possible. If children are struggling because they do not understand certain words or something, and if parents speak English, ask them to help you whenever it's possible. Review your feedback. It is very important that you give feedback to your students. Once they are, they have finished something, give them feedback. I am also going to share some ideas on how to do this, but it's very important that they know that you are there and that you are checking what they are doing. Communicate with you if they have any doubts. Review rules with their children and provide encouragement. So you're going to do everything you can here, but you also have to ask your parents to help you. And so now that you have all these prepared and all this set, you're ready to plan your class. I told you before to share your schedule. This is very important so parents know when they are going to start, when they are going to finish. If you're going to give them a time to eat, tell them. If you're going to give them a time to have recess, also tell them, okay? So they know what's your schedule and from which time to which time they have to be there in your class, okay? So this is super important. And now, when planning your class, remember that it has to have a good flow. I even put here a graph, okay? Because you're going to start with your opening routine, and then you're going to do the vocabulary introduction, and that is heavy learning. And after that, because it was so heavy, do some TPR, do some relaxation activities or saccadic movements, okay? Once you finish, and you can do it in 1 minute, ask them to jump, to move, or to relax and to read, okay? Once you finish, ask them again to sit down, and now you're going to have timetable. Table time is working with your book, okay? Maybe they are going to be coloring or drawing or doing something like that. Since that is also going to require attention, they're going to get tired. So again, after that, ask them to stand up, do some TPR, do some relaxation activities, saccadic movements. You can even play some classical music, okay? To ask them to breathe in, breathe out, ask them to do that. And then you're going to have your closing routine when you're going to say goodbye, okay? So your class, remember, has to have a good flow, okay? And whenever you ask students to pay attention, you have to do TPR, relaxation, or saccadic, because you want to get their attention again. Otherwise, if you continue and if your class is flat and you go from vocabulary and then take out your book and that, you're going to require a lot of their attention. They're not going to pay attention to you. They're going to leave because they're going to feel very stressed, okay? So include these periods that I'm putting in blue in your lesson plan, okay? That is super important. And this is super important because to keep children interested before you lose your attention, you have to remember that they have an attention span. And the attention span is more or less 3 times their age. So that means that if you have 3-year-olds, they're going to pay attention around 10 minutes, if possible from 10 to 15 minutes, but no more than that. So your class has to have periods of maybe 15 minutes, okay? So I'm going back. Your opening routine can last 5 minutes, and then your vocabulary introduction can last 10 minutes. And then after that, include your 20-20-20 rule, TPR, relaxation activities, 1 minute, and then again, and then you continue for another 15 minutes, okay? This is super important. Otherwise, they are going to leave, they're going to go, they're not going to pay attention to you, okay? So this is super important to consider. Your activities have to be short and snappy, quick, okay? Also, if you're going to be introducing vocabulary, you don't have to introduce all of the vocabulary words one day. For example, if you have to introduce 10 vocabulary words, just introduce 5. And the next day, you introduce the next 5. And the next day, maybe you're going to review all of them, okay? So split vocabulary words, okay? Because that requires a lot of attention and children get tired with that heavy learning period, okay? So remember, 10 to 15 minute activities, short and snappy, go directly to the objective. It's very important to keep the objective in mind, okay? To plan short and snappy activities, you have to think, what do you want your students to learn at the end of your class, okay? So, okay, with this activity, short and snappy, 10 to 15 minutes, I know that my objective is for them to learn 5 words, and I know that with this activity, at the end of the 15 minutes, they're going to learn those 5 words. Maybe I'm going to continue, the learning process, because then they're going to be coloring those 5 words, and then we're going to be singing a song about those 5 words, okay? So you kept your objective in mind. You did different activities, short and snappy, different. You taught them, they colored them, they sang them. Different activities that lead to the same objective, and in no more than 10 to 15 minutes, okay? And also plan activities to review concepts or practice English after schoolwork. This is super important. To learn a new language, teachers requires input. We have to be listening to the new language all the time so that my brain gets the new sounds of the new language. How long does it take to us to speak our mother tongue? From the moment we are in our mother's womb, we start listening to the sounds of our mother tongue language. And then after we are born, we continue listening to those sounds of our mother tongue language. And maybe when we are 1 year old, we start speaking, okay? But we received a lot of input from a lot of people who spoke in our mother tongue language, okay, to us for a long time. So if we want our students to learn English, we cannot only have them learning English when they are with us in our class, because maybe your class is going to last 1 hour, and so they're just going to listen to English for 1 hour, okay? So it is super important that you plan activities for them to review or practice English when they are not with you. They can, as you know, listen to songs in English. They can use their Navio activities, to practice English. You can even ask parents if that is possible to put some cartoons or movies for children in English, so they start listening to the language, and that is super important, okay? Teachers, don't forget about that. And how we create interest, okay? So we know that we have already set the place, our routines, the do's and don'ts. We already have our plan. We also have to make them feel interested. Remember, little kids love to work with puppets. They love puppets. And if you show them a puppet and you make the puppet speak, oh my God, they are going to feel super happy. I have here one friend. Hi, how are you? My name is Tommy. Just by looking at a puppet or at a stuffed animal or a toy, is going to make them say, hey, what's going on? I like this, and I want to pay attention to what the teacher is saying. Because something very important and that you don't have to forget is that we're going to be teaching them a language that they don't know. And we're going to be speaking in a language that they don't know. And so if we have music, if we have puppets, if we have songs, if we have games, and if we have nice things that make them feel interested, they're going to be paying attention to you. Otherwise, they're going to leave. So if possible, create a nice classroom in your house that is nicely decorated for them, as if you were in the school. Create a nice classroom so they feel welcome. Have toys, have puppets, so to invite them to listen to you for those 10 to 15 minutes. Have your flashcards. Use all of the resources that you have to play music, to put videos, so you keep them interested. Now, all of the media resources are our best allies, teachers. If we don't use them, we're going to lose the attention of our little kids, and we have to have them here with us. Look at all of those programs for little kids. They put videos, they have puppets. Look at Sesame Street. They have videos, they have puppets, and activities are short and they teach some things. So in a way, we will have to create the same thing with our resources, okay? So don't forget to use every day your puppet to greet them, to model dialogues, even to make that puppet part of your class. You can ask your puppet, hey, is this blue? And you can take the voice, no, it is red, okay? Make the puppet be your student, okay? Create that environment so you have your students paying attention to you. This is very important. And use your flashcards. Remember, that is very important. And if you have available some realia or other things that you can use, toys or whatever, use them to present your vocabulary apart from the flashcards, because that is also going to make them come to you, okay? And as I was telling you, it's very important to use the apps. Macmillan has a wonderful app, Navio. Use it to assess, use it to control your classroom, use it so they can review at home, use it for everything. Encourage students to use it. Not as much time as in the afternoon, because they're going to be listening to you in the morning maybe, but maybe half an hour later after, having lunch or something for homework. Ask them to use the app so they can review, okay? There are other apps that I like and I want to suggest in case you want to use them. One is CISO. CISO, if you look for it, it's like having a portfolio of the kids. So if you want, you can use it. Children can learn to take pictures of what they're doing in their books, and they can send them to you. And it keeps track of what they send you every day. And then you can look at the picture, see if they completed their work or not, and you can also type feedback there. There is also a microphone in which they can record, and you can listen to them, for example, saying some words, singing a song, and they can send you videos, they can send you audios too. So I like this app because there you can also send your feedback, and your parents can get in CISO and they can see what their children are doing, and they can see your feedback, and they can see how their kids are, advancing in the program. There is also an app that I like that is called Clever. In Clever, what you do is that you put all of the apps that the children are going to be needing for their online classroom there. So for example, they're going to be using Zoom, you put them in Clever. They're going to be using Navio, you put it in Clever. Any app that you want, because then they only click on Clever and it opens up, and then they're going to see the icons. They just give a click on the icon, for example, in Zoom, and then it's going to go directly to your class without the need to be, writing down anything. It's going to direct them to your class right away. So this is very helpful for little kids that do not know how to write. And there's another one that's called Remind that I like, because you ask parents to give you their cell phones, you put them in Remind, and there you can have instant communication with them. The good thing about this is, number one, they do not have your cell phone in case you don't want to give it to your parents. And number two, they can send you private messages. And so when you send something, for example, ask students to review certain song for homework. And maybe parents are going to reply, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. So at the end, you're going to have 100 thank yous if you do it in WhatsApp. But if you do it in Remind, you can see if they saw your message, and also if someone has a private message, they can send it to you. So it can work. These are apps that have helped me, and I like them. So if you want to use them, they're also there. You can make use of them. And after the class, this is something very important. It's very important to send parents a message or a mail with clear instructions on how to help their children at home if you're going to leave a homework. Include short tasks children need to do to get involved. If you want to leave homework, do it like that. If possible, apart from working with Navio, that is going to be important so they can continue, listening to English, ask them to do tasks that do not include online activities. Maybe you're going to ask them to play a memory game, or I don't know, to ask parents to read them a book, or to color something, to play a board game, to get attention. So ask parents ask children to do at home after your class activities to review concepts, but that do not include the use of the screen as much as possible. Also, include instructions on how they have to send evidence that shows what their child has learned. For example, if you ask them to color an apple, maybe you can ask them to take a picture and send them to you. So give them clear instructions okay? And make sure to give feedback on that. Great job, that's perfect. I like your work. Always praise your students and maybe tell them something they can do. I love your apple. Remember to respect contours, something like that. But remember to praise first your students and then give them a suggestion to improve. And don't forget to make every child important and feel important and that their efforts are taken into account. Believe me, parents and children are doing their best because I know that you're doing the best. So everything is going to be okay, teachers. I hope that these tips help you in a way. And I really hope that you have a successful online school year. I really want to thank you again for everything that you're doing, for being here, for doing your best. And I wish you the best. And we're all in this together. And thank you very much for being here today and for listening to me. Bye. I can hear you.
Chat, they were reacting, everybody was reacting to your comments. Apparently, what seems to be a problem is parents more than children, I think. That was a general feel that I had. Can you hear me?
A problem with parents?
Yes, many teachers were saying that how to train parents with all this online teaching was a problem.
Oh, yeah. Well, same thing. I think that it is very important to have a class with parents, to invite parents to an online class with you. It's super important so they understand what you're going to be doing and to explain them all of these things so they know. And so in that way, you're together with this. So I think that this is something very important to do before starting the school year if you haven't started, or to do it just to invite your parents and tell them, I want to invite you to a back to school night or something like that, in which we're going to be talking about how we're going to be teaching this time, how your kids are going to be learning, and everything that we need from you to support us, no?
Great. Here, yes, okay. Do you have some minutes for question? Because I see there are some questions here. Yes, there was one. Oh, sorry. What can you do if if a child is with a tantrum?
Oh, okay. Okay. If they're with their parents, maybe to ask parents to help you with that. In Zoom, you are able to put certain kids in the waiting room. Okay. So what you can do is you can leave the rest of the children, with work to do. Okay, you can tell them, okay, color the apple, no? And then you leave them there, and then you put this kid that is in a tantrum in a waiting room, and then you go to the waiting room, and then you ask the parent of that child, sending a message, hey, I need your help. That's why it's super important to have these apps where you can have instant communication with parents, you know?
Yes,
I need your help with this. And so invite the parent and come and see what's happening and why the child is doing a tantrum. Most of the times, kids tend to do tantrums, or they tend to go, or they tend to leave, or they are aggressive because they feel stressed. So remember that when we are stressed, that means that something is happening that is out of my control. Okay, so I feel stressed. So there are two ways I can react. Either I walk away or I attack. Okay, that's the way we all react when we're stressed. So a child that is stressed can either walk away. That's why they leave, because, oh my God, this, I don't understand what she's saying. She's speaking in a different language. Goodbye. This is too much for me. So they leave. That's why we need to get their attention. We need to get their attention with all of these resources that we have. Or they start being aggressive. They start yelling. They start disrupting the class, and that because they feel frustrated. So we have to see what happened, what I was teaching. Maybe it was too much for this little kid. Maybe we can talk to him. Maybe we can tell him everything is going to be okay, sweetie. Maybe we can even speak to the child in our mother tongue. Okay?
Yes, exactly.
Because we will have to do that and tell them everything is going to be okay, and you're doing fine. And I see that, I mean, you know what to tell them, you know. I see that you're working very nicely. What happened? Come on, let's come back. And you promised me this, and I'm going to send you a super big star, no? And
yes, I see. It's difficult. Like it's difficult because you cannot hug the child. You cannot have contact. It is difficult. It's a great challenge. Yes. Well,
it's a super great challenge.
Yes. Okay, Lorena, it's been so useful. All the tips that you mentioned can also be, when I was listening to you, I said I can also use them for yourself as teachers. I didn't know this 2020. I found it great, very useful. Yeah, so thanks again. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Mariela. It was a pleasure for me to be here with you, and thank you so much for everything.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Well, okay. Dear teachers, yes, one more resource for you, because as I told you, we know that you deserve this material so that we can help you in your classes. This resource is called Story Time with Carol. Carol Rich is an experienced teacher, award-winning young learner expert, and also a Macmillan education author. And she has created a series of story-based video lessons, yes, to motivate students, with activities for students and tips on how to exploit this video. So the video lesson will motivate and inspire both students, teachers, and even parents. So if you first, you can watch the teacher video first to get useful tips and techniques and procedures for conducting a successful lesson remotely, and then you watch the student video with your pupil, or maybe send them the link to watch it alone or together with their parents, so they can play it as many times as you want. And it is a great way to learn new vocabulary and to recycle structures and vocabulary as well. Okay, one more thing before I forget. Many of you were wondering about the certificates. We will send your certificates of attendance within the next 7 working days. So you can print them, yes, and have them ready. And all right. I will see you tomorrow, of course, at 10. We will start with Alejandro Tolina's session and then Ariel Olmedo's session. Alejandra is going to deliver a session on special education needs, and Ariel on teaching teenagers. And thanks again for having joined us. What time tomorrow? Tomorrow at 10. Yes, tomorrow at 10. And remember, you can find out more about upcoming events or material, new titles, resources, everything that we have to offer to you at this social media or our webpage, or of course you can contact your local representative. Can you send the link, please? Romina, I think when you enroll, they send you a link. Anyway, you can write to argentina.altinfo@macmillaneducation.com in case you haven't received, because you should have received both links. So maybe it's in your spam folder, yes. So I enrolled for tomorrow. Well, you should have received the link, yes? Okay, see you all tomorrow. I hope you can rest and enjoy your day, yes? Maybe reward yourself, a little treat for you with chocolate, a glass of wine, relax, and we'll see you tomorrow again. Bye-bye.